everything boxing. Hey, Dave Allen is telling us he wasn't tested by UKAD or VADA for the whole build-up for the FRAZER CLARKE fight. No testing at all. So when Ben is saying that the information on testing is confidential, the only confidentiality he needs to worry about is the fighters he's working with. He better get them to sign waivers so they don't expose the dirty laundry over there. No testing at all. Now, Joe McNally said, oh, there was no VADA testing. Dave Allen is going one step further and said there was no VADA and no UKAD. No testing at all. Now, of course, Ben is going to deny this. It's his word against Dave's. If Dave is lying, Ben, you can always put him in court and take it to his pockets. Now, Chris EUBANK was tested once because he was training in America, and I'm doubting he did any VADA testing over there. So he came over here, got his temporary license, fought one, got his money, and now he's chilling in Dubai. But this is the issue. Are the likes of Ben Shalom just testing the main event?
The streets is watching.
There were no drug tests at all, mate, to be honest, which I was surprised by. I'm a clean athlete, always have been, and I'm of the opinion Frazer Clarke is as well. I would never ever question that. But there was no testing for the fight leading up to it or on the night, which did surprise me. But yeah.
The problem, I believe, is all the different drug testing agencies that are going on. We should be actually investing more in UKAD. Yes, maybe UKAD are under-resourced, and yes, maybe the board are, but we all agree that we need one unified body that are testing fighters. And so when we get the trust and confidence from UKAD that they will be testing them multiple times leading up to the fight, then what more can you do? They're the ones that have the jurisdiction. They're the ones that can ban fighters, and we've seen the mess that it can cause repeatedly now when you're using other bodies and they don't have jurisdiction and they don't have the implementation and there's no uniform. We don't know when we're going to get the results.
We all agree there should be one agency testing. Well, who's we when it's proven that extra layers catches more dirty athletes? The whole thing about VADA not having jurisdiction, what's better? You pop dirty athletes or worry about jurisdiction? What's more important? He's acting like it's impossible for the board, VADA and UKAD to have a conference call and get some joined up thinking and work together. Wouldn't that have been the better answer rather than, oh, we only need one layer of testing? Everything he's saying is to negate the responsibility of having that extra layer of testing. Why? When so far, things might change, but so far, that's the only foolproof method to catch more dirty boxers. Conor Benn, UKAD and VADA. He himself got popped. Anthony Joshua, UKAD and VADA. His last opponent got popped post-fight. That opponent was a replacement for the initial AJ opponent, and he popped as well, pre-fight, as a result of stringent testing from 2 layers. And the whole thing, oh well, if it's not a title fight, that you could perhaps justify not using VADA. Well, Conor Benn versus EUBANK was not a title fight, not a world title fight, and neither was Joshua versus Franklin or Joshua versus Hellenius. There's no excuse.
Obviously you have to pay for the additional testing for VADA. Why haven't you decided to do that, and what was the option to not go for VADA?
Look, in truth, it's nothing to do with money.
If it's nothing to do with money, pay for the testing. He's talking about pump money into UKAD. They've tested the fighters multiple times, but Dave Allen said he wasn't tested once. You need 2 layers.
The questions sort of were posed at him, well, why not? He said, look, UKAD testing is sufficient enough, and sort of dismissed the need for further testing. What did you make of that?
The reality of the situation is he doesn't want to pay for VADA testing.
EUBANK this morning, I believe it was, he put up the drug testing thing as well, so it's good that we're getting drug testing, but I've got to ask, is the VADA drug testing for this fight, because it is such a huge fight?
First of all, I think the drug testing is confidential.
Confidential. And you lot, the media, you don't even let him answer the question. Do you have testing for this? It's confidential. No, it's not. It's public knowledge on VADA's social pages.
Let's be realistic. Let's be realistic.
It was meant to be confidential, but yesterday Joe McNally revealed that there hasn't been any VADA testing for this fight, and we just wanted to get your opinion on that.
At least we won't get a failed drug test, will we? That's the positive of it, I suppose.
That was Barry Jones doing some punditry work for Suarez versus Lyndon Arthur. Now, I'm doubting there was any VADA testing there. And knowing what a lot of us have been hearing on the British boxing circuit, it wouldn't shock us if there was no UKAD testing for that card. Was he joking or not? He basically said, oh, no VADA testing, at least we won't get a positive test. He said it like it was good, that we don't have the extra layer to catch a dirty fighter. On the mic, on the camera, he works for Channel 5, he works for Sky. I don't think he works for MATCHROOM, I haven't seen him on there for a little while. Why are there so many people justifying not having the extra layer of testing? He's a paid pundit. We're talking about paid promoters justifying not having the extra layer of testing. How much testing do you think Suarez has had throughout his career in Argentina? Not much, I would imagine, if any. Who's the testing commission in Argentina? He obviously got tested by UKAD before he got in the ring with Lyndon Arthur, but that might be the first time he got tested this year when he came to Britain. So an import will get a temporary license to fight on the day in the UK. But since we don't know much about this athlete, shouldn't he have to bring proof that in the last 6 months that he's done some form of testing from a credible agency? Look, Suarez was IBO champion, but big territories like the UK and the USA are reliant on imports making their way over here, fighting for dirt cheap to get knocked over for the most part by these big promoters and their prospects and contenders, etc., etc. And that keeps the game going in the UK, the USA, and other big territories around the world. But with the PED topic being such an issue right now, should fighters be able to just hop on planes and jump in a British ring unchecked when we know nothing about these athletes? Whether they're journeymen or they hold a belt, they should at least bring proof of the last 6 months that they're current, clean, tested.
Yeah, it seems a ludicrous thing.
Big up everything boxing. On average, just 9% of British boxers were tested at least once by UKAD out of competition, and 18% in competition in 2022.
EUBANK this morning, I believe it was, he put up the drug testing thing as well, so it's good that we're getting drug tested, but I've got to ask, is the VADA drug testing for this fight, because it is such a huge fight?
First of all, I think the drug testing is confidential.
And you lot, the media, you don't even let him answer the question. Do you have testing for this? It's confidential. No, it's not. It's public knowledge on VADA's social pages.
You know, did the journalists over here let Ben skate a little easy by saying it was confidential when it's not true? The results of the tests are confidential. But asking a promoter whether there's going to be VADA testing or UKAD testing for a card should be a yes or no answer. It will be on the testing agency's website if there's any testing for this card. 30th of September, Caroline Dubois will be fighting for the IBO lightweight title against Magali Rodriguez. And Eddie Hearn wants to know if Ben Shalom will be providing VADA testing for this fight at the York Hall. I mean, the York Hall, that's a 1,000 plus capacity arena. I don't know if Caroline and Vidal Riley can bring 1,000 people in there. There'll be a lot of comps in there. That's just how British boxing is. A lot of media and fringe media, let's say. So, you know, like, you can't rely on a York Hall gate to bankroll VADA testing. You just can't. Well, they've got 4 fights on that card at the York Hall. So that would be £120,000 worth of testing of VADA. I think they're going to cop out and just try and dodge the hard questions and talk about how the athletes are tested by UKAD, and that's sufficient. Now, there will be VADA testing for Joyce and ZHANG on the 23rd of September. That's a 10-fight card. Anthony Yarde's on the card, Zach Parker. I'm assuming they'll be going through the VADA process, but what about the other 7 fights?
And then you've got Simon Jordan going, oh, well, if it's between UKAD and VADA, I'd go with UKAD every time. Shut up. You do both. You talk about wanting to make the sport safer. You're all complete hypocrites. It's unbelievable.
I guess MATCHROOM feel they've been backed into a corner with the one-sided coverage of Conor Benn and his testing issues compared to the likes of Amir Khan, Zolani Tete. He's got a 4-year ban. And now they're saying, okay, if you want strict testing, this is what we're going to do.
EUBANK Ben fight, absolutely huge. Huge. And I've just now got to the point where I look at all these people criticising within the industry, all taking a piss, not even putting a hand in their pocket to test. And when people aren't testing, then they're coming out, some of the media, and saying, oh, it doesn't matter, there's UKAD. I mean, and I just think to myself, we might as well just move forward now and fuck what people think, because no one's looking at it with a clear head anyway.
And EUBANK, I'd like to see him in with Zach Parker. I think that's a proper fight. It's a good fight.
So, EUBANK, way, way, way bigger draw than Zach Parker, should move up to 168 to accommodate you, Frank. You didn't even say, yeah, Zach Parker would drop down to 160 to fight EUBANK. And we'll go on any network. We'll go on Channel 5 in Wasserman, Sky, DAZN, and if they like, they can do it on Queensbury. The last I remember of Zach Parker was him getting beaten up by John Ryder. If EUBANK was going to fight a British super middleweight, John Ryder would be the way bigger fight. In fact, on that ZHANG JOYCE rematch, I would like to see Zach Parker move up to light heavy and fight Anthony Yarde. How about that? Yarde will be having his first fight back since losing to Artur Beterbiev, challenging for the unified light heavyweight titles. He takes on Ricky Summers. He's 36 years of age. He's aging. He's won his last two. Last time out, he outpointed Joel McIntyre, who not too long ago got smashed to pieces by Lyndon Arthur. And before that, he beat someone with a losing record on points. I don't remember this split decision loss to Dan Aziz. That's not a bad result. It's not the worst opponent Yarde could take on. Ricky's never been stopped. Can Yarde be the first to do so on the 23rd of September? We shall see. According to Tony Bellew and DAZN, talks between Anthony Joshua and Deontay Wilder have broke down. Wilder-Andy Ruiz talks haven't gone anywhere, so an AJ Wilder fight might have to wait until 2024. And it's reasonable if Wilder doesn't jump straight into that fight without a tune-up. He's had one heavy loss to Tyson Fury and a one-round win against Robert Helenius since early 2020, when again he was battered by Tyson Fury. Probably needs a tune-up. Where I would fault Wilder is, why did they delay so long with the Andy Ruiz fight? Because from the jump, it wasn't getting anywhere. So if talks for that fight has broke down, I have to look at Wilder and say, you got to take some of the blame for that. So attentions have been turned to Tyson Fury, Anthony Joshua. What about Tyson Fury and Usyk? What about that? The heavyweight division is all about the place right now. And it's not the Saudis' fault. We haven't had an undisputed champion since Lennox Lewis. It's not the Saudis' fault. That's a ridiculous assertion that can be debunked on so many levels and so many points. If this is true, it looks like Usyk will be taking on his mandatory Hrgovic next. But I'm not holding my breath waiting for a Tyson Fury Anthony Joshua fight right now. I'm not. And I'm not going to get carried away with any news I hear until the Tyson Fury Ngannou fight plays out, and then take it from there. Quite a bizarre turn of events. Tony Bellew is saying the fight could be in Africa. How deep are they in these talks? But Fury fights October the 28th, so any talks of an AJ fight won't be until 2024. Eddie Hearn says if Wilder is not ready for December, AJ could take another fight around that same time period.